is the 9 didn't get painted until later. Or no, the 9 got painted as well. So yeah, 3, 6, and 9 were all stacked up right here. So you were above that. Come back,
filled.
Broke above it, come back into it, retested it, and then closed up here. So that's showing you signs of support. So you've got support here, the cloud showing support of, obviously, working together, but yet you're still below closing range. And this is where I really, really lean on the VIX, right? So if you were trading this morning, you would have known all of this right here was longs. Like you shouldn't have been doing anything but taking longs. So I'm gonna pull up the VIX real quick, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So, VIX is always easier to see on a 5-minute chart. Okie dokie. So we went ahead and plotted our daily ranges, right? That's pretty important stuff. Well, that's your upper range, that's your lower range. Okay. So anything above this range, you would think, okay, in a relative term, it's bearish above and bullish below. Okay. So you showed support. Well, then you broke support right here at 8:35 this morning, right? And then you come back in and back tested it right at 8:45. So you would expect for this move to be bearish in terms of the VIX goes, right? The VIX is going down, most likely to fill this gap, right? That's where I would target, this level, right? So you've got the confluence of the cloud, you got the confluence of support being broken and made into resistance, right? And you have your target set. So this would be your long opportunity, I guess is what I'm saying. So anything from like 8:35 to around 9:50 would be strictly longs. You'd be looking for longs. You know what I mean?
Okay, I understand. The
And
idea was
and then you
but it was not. There was no backing from a volatility perspective.
Yep.
And then also not paying attention to those boxes acting as strong support there.
Yeah. So if you're 8:35, right, you're going into those boxes, and this is the time. It's notification. I fix that. So you're going into the boxes at 8:35, right? And you're showing them to be support, right? They keep coming off of them, each one of them, they're showing to be support. And then the open, obviously, you've got that initial volatility spike either direction. So you could have gotten long up into there, and then I think it was, well, you could have targeted, let's see, what time was that? 9:50 is where your target got hit on the VIX. So that probably would have put you somewhere in that upper range, 9:50. Yeah. So your long would have been right here. So you could have got long off of the 3, 6, or 9 box. You know what I mean? With that idea of playing the VIX in your favor, as well as, seeing this bullish consolidation up here and also showing support. And then once it got above it, that back test that come off of it, if you was on the 1 minute, right? You probably could peel one off here and then peel the other one off up there when the VIX got targeted. That'd probably been the ideal play for this morning.
Magnum, that morning too, you see those bottom 2 humps at like 7 or 8 o'clock. You broke through the Bollinger, and then you've got, technically you draw a box there, right? If it breaks through and comes back, because that's where we closed at 4 o'clock. Because I had a box drawn down there at the bottom, and then if you take that all the way over, that's where we closed. Right at the end of the day.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 695.
Yeah. I haven't drawn. Yep. Yeah, I haven't drawn today's closing range yet, but yeah,
Okay.
you would
'Cause
be right. Yeah.
I got long this morning around there, and then I had that box, and so this afternoon saw it came right to it, which was pretty cool. You saw the rejection, then came right back to it.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So cool
Absolutely.
system, man. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, it just kind of helps bring some all this stuff into context. It's easy to get lost in the day, right? You know, it is easy to get lost in the day, and all these boxes are. It's just it's where money comes in, and wants to play, and are they going to defend this area where they wanted to start, and if they do, then just try to be on the right side of it. That's the idea. Each one of these 3, 6, 9, 12, 3 boxes or whatever are a supply or um I mean a support or a resistance type deal. You know what I mean? That's the way you should be looking at them.
Yep.
And in your closing ranges, obviously, it is support and resistance as well. However, it's more of a, you know, bullish above and bearish below type scenario. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at that. Um, but you
So
played out pretty daggone sporty right there.
So Jittery and I were talking earlier today in the morning session, and we think we found a great short at 1022, but it did not. The price did not make a higher high, and this is on the 1 minute chart on the Nasdaq. So at 1022, price pokes the Bollinger Band and then kind of just drifts below, and then tested a few times, and that was pretty much the high of the day.
1022. One of my
Yep,
charts been laggy
like
here.
that last red dot that you paint almost
Okay.
right there.
Mm. So you were guys thinking a short up here is what you were
Yeah,
thinking?
that was the one that we thought
Okay.
was a short, but the price didn't make a new high and not pierce the Bollinger Band. It just kind of like a little tiny wick above that opening range of that candle, and then just kind of
Yeah.
drifted lower.
Yep. Yep. Um, yeah, I see nothing right there that hold on 1 second. Hey, what? Oh, okay. Um, sorry, guys. Yeah, there's no higher high been put in right there, man. So that would be I couldn't take that because it's almost there's nothing there, right? That would just that's not even the setup. So I mean you need that higher high in price, right? Without puncturing the Bollinger Band to actually get that box drawn. You know what I mean? It just didn't come. Now that doesn't mean it didn't come on a 30-second chart, right? I mean, we could probably look at a lower time frame and it um may have happened, you know. And it did. Right? Right here's your box. That's actually not poking out. That's not poking out either. This is your poke out, right? The last one to poke out. So here's your box, and right there's your A plus setup at 1033. So you could have got in by just following the Bollinger Band and would have gotten short at 890, 890 ish, give or take a couple ticks. And then it just flushed pretty hard after that, you know.
You drew the box on the red the bearish candle there. I thought the box gets drawn on the bullish candle.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter which one you draw it on. It just needs to be the last one that pokes through the Bollinger Band. Like this one right here. Um, you would have had a box drawn on this candle, right? Waiting for an A plus setup over here, but then it turned into an over under. You know what I mean? right up in here. So, and it jump right back up.
Okay, so
Does that make sense?
yeah, so the next big bullish candle there at what is that, 1023 it looks like. Two candles to your right from the box. Uh
Right here.
right there. That is not considered a Bollinger Band poke, even though price is uh, closed above the Bollinger Band. Like you're looking for a full close, right? Not an
Yeah, I
angled.
mean,
You're looking for a
yeah,
full
I mean,
price above,
it
not
looks like it closed above it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it looks like it closed above it, but it didn't. Like, so if you look right here, the high of that candle was 14,895.50, and your Bollinger Band was actually it did close above it, 895.45. So it was just barely a poke. I don't know, man. This is one of those things where it's like discernment, right? I want to see something. I'm not boxing this candle. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like we're
Like, and
we're literally we're talking about nothing. You know, I mean, you know what I mean? I want to see it. Like, yeah, I don't want to have to find it. You know what I mean?
I understand. I
Um,
got it.
like this, it opened above it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, there's no doubt that poke and made a poke. You know, nor this candle. This one is kind of questionable. That one's actually questionable. Um,
Yeah, I
that's the
mean,
way I
we're
would
talking
look at it.
one
You know?
tick above the Bollinger Band, and you don't even know if the Bollinger Band is just compressed there because as time went on, it popped down a little bit, right? Because all Bollinger Bands are points drawn A to B
Yeah.
as price closes. So it could have been above it, and then as the next price above it came in, sucked it down a little
Yeah.
bit, right? Okay, so that makes a
Yeah.
whole lot of sense. See, I was looking at that
Yeah. I
being
mean,
invalidated because the next candle was bearish, but was above the above the Bollinger Band. But okay, that really clarifies a lot there. Okay, yep, I understand.
yeah.
So
But
I
one
call that
thing I will tell you though is be mindful where you are. Right? It's 10:20 in the morning. You know what I mean? You're in between a rotation hour. So the best way to get a failed setup is to take this setup. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to understand this normally doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like markets don't rotate at 10:30 in the morning. I mean, granted, they call it the 10:30 turnaround, right? Whatever. But it usually don't offer the best turnaround of the day. Your best turnarounds come from 3, 6, 9, and 12 typically, you know. Um so just keep that in mind. If you take this kind of a trade, say, okay, well, I'm not looking for, 75 to 100 points. I'm looking for 30, 35, 40 points, and just take you little pieces as they come, and you'll feel a lot better. And then also, it's just know it's not ideal. You know what I mean? That's all. It's not that it's not valid. It's just it's probably not going to pay you as well as you had you got in that 9 o'clock rotation. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I mean,
Well,
Magnum.
I mean it's up. You know, this is the nine
Sorry.
o'clock rotation. Um, this is the 9 o'clock rotation. This is the 10:30 rotation. You know what I mean? It's just not even comparable. So just know if you take these in between rotation hour trades, um, position properly, and be willing to take profit as quick and often as possible. You know what I mean? That's all.
okay, understand.
Sorry to interrupt you there, man.
Oh, you're good. There was another person that was trying to talk. Go ahead.
Hey, Magnum.
Hey, bro.
Hey, man. Bruno and I were talking in the morning. Actually, my question it's a two-part question. So when it pokes the Bollinger Band and retraces back, it has to make a higher high compared to the Bollinger Band poke, or it just needs to make a new high. That was
Yeah.
what we were discussing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a great example right here.
And part of the second part on that was if you look at the 2-minute chart on that same around the same candle, I think the rotation comes in at 11:40 this morning after the second test, but it's on a 2-minute chart that it ends up actually working out on. It's the same box, and that's where it will show the poke and then a higher high without touching the band, and that's where I started taking a short.
Okay. Let's see here. Why is my chart not there? There we go. 2 minutes. Let's see. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see automatically. Right.
It's
Let's delete this guy.
it's like
And
the
then
1016 candle or something like that.
yep. So you 1016. See, that's one of those deals that we were just talking about a minute ago. It's like, it kind of broke, but then it kind of didn't break. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? It's just not, it's not there. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm forcing it. Yeah, it did break it, but just ever so slightly. Whereas right here, that's very obvious where it broke, Um, and I would almost be more inclined to box this candle rather than that candle. And that's the thing, right? It's just you get into that kind of stuff right here in this where it's not really, you know, desirable to really look for these rotation or counter trend type stuff. But anywho, nonetheless, I'm rambling. Let me box this thing.
Yeah,
But
I think
anyhow,
you're
yeah,
right with contact.
you made a high right here, and then you made your higher high, right? And never poked outside the Bollinger Band. Yeah, that is by definition the ideal setup. That's what you want to look for.
And it did play out. It just took a long time for it to play out. It took till basically rotation period for that candle on the 2 minute to
Yeah,
play out. And then if you go down to the 1 minute, there's your double whammy. If you look at the 1 minute at 11:38 a.m., there's another poke of the Bollinger Band. Price makes a new high and then comes down below that box and then tests that 2 minute box or two minute time frame box from early in the morning and the 1 minute, and then it was just downhill from there from the rest of the day.
yeah. I
I
see
don't know
what
if
you're saying here.
you see that at 11:36. I think that's a pretty clean. 11:38 a.m.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I tested it twice, right? You could deem that as, you know, a suitable trade for sure, man.
Near your rotationary zone. I don't know how plus and minus far you go, or if you stick rate, if it's plus or minus 5 minutes or plus and minus an hour. But it's near that 12 p.m. spot.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I personally couldn't took that trade on the 1 minute or the 2 minute, either or. Um, it's not clean enough for me. Like it's not. The 1 minute we didn't get the higher high, so it's definitely not desirable for me to do anything right here. Which I don't really watch the 2 minute, but then you looking at the 2 minute there, and it oh hell. You didn't really get that definitive. Like if it was me, how I would have been playing the 2 minute, I'll show you what I would have actually had done. I would have boxed this candle right here. That's the one I would have been looking at. And then I would have seen this one right here break the Bollinger Band, and I would have just completely deleted the box and been done with the trade because that invalidated the setup for me right here when I seen that, right?
Yeah.
And then I would box this candle, but I really probably wouldn't box the candle if you want to know the truth, because it just, that's not a definitive break for me. Not like this, right? That's what I'm looking for. That's iffy, and I would feel like, given the context of where we are in the day, and that would feel like a trap, right, to me. But there's nothing that wouldn't there's nothing that told me that I shouldn't take that trade on a 30-second chart, because a 30-second chart, it actually set up really, really nicely. I can get back over to this thing. I don't know why this thing's being so laggy today. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so to your point, if you're looking up here for potential opportunities, then I'm dialing myself down to the lowest time frame I can, to where I can get this sniper type opportunity right here, right? Yeah, I mean, you had an opportunity from 891 to 892, all within that, that one point, to stack some orders in here, right? So, and it would have been an absolute sniper entry, because it never really kind of got tested, right? I mean, it come back about close to it, but you literally would have had the top on an A+ setup, you know? Yeah.
Yo,
You
Magnum.
could short all day. Yo,
What up, dude? It's Slade. I just wanted to say what up. I've been waiting to say what up for like 10 minutes, bro. You guys have been so deep in Bollinger Bands, and what up to you, Bruno?
man, this Bollinger Band thing is
Bro, it's Bollinger Bands Central and chat 24/7 now. You freaking took over chat.
it has taken over, man. It is. It between Bollinger Bands and boxes, man, it has given context.
Hey, if it's working for people, I'm happy.
That's it, brother. That's all
What's
we
up,
can do.
Slade?
Is just,
How are you, brother?
Good, man, good. I'm actually going to go right now. I just wanted to stop by and say what up. I saw everyone on this channel. I was like, I got to say hi.
well, I'm glad you stopped by, brother.
Hell yeah, bro. Good to see you. Keep spreading the knowledge, bro.
We'll try, man. We'll try.
See ya.
See you, bud.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about context, Magnum. Like I'm watching initial balance 60 minutes, so 9:30 to 10:30, I'm watching the rip and or rejection of that 10:30. But I think that's key, to keep that context and to know where you are in the day, not necessarily just the technicals of what it's telling you to do.
That's it, man. That's it. I mean, realistically, if we all traded the market the exact same way, that'd be some boring stuff. At some point in time, we're gonna run out of folks to be buying our contracts and selling our contracts too. I mean, besides an algo, I guess. But if there's anything that anybody ever sees with this stuff, and they have an opportunity to add on it, I can't sit here and say that that's right or wrong. All I know is what I've been able to do, and I'll just tell you how I did it. You know what I mean? Now, if you can do something better with it, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing that you could possibly ever do, is just take an idea and make it better, And, for the thought that I've built something that could never be improved better than it is, I mean, that's just absolutely retarded, So I'm sure that you guys know something or have done something that's better than what I've already got. And if it is, realistically, I wouldn't know it until you just said, "Hey, man, look at this. This is pretty interesting." This is what I found, and shoot, that's the way this thing grows, man. I mean, you grab a little bit of knowledge and you share it with your fellow man, and you make a good thing better. You know, that's the idea. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't know of an industry one where one head is better than 5 or 6. It's always better with a team. For sure.
So the rotation level at noon, right? 12 Eastern, right? Um, would you, or do you see anything there that's worth anything? I mean, I don't at noon.
Absolutely, I do. I'm about to show you.
Okay. At noon you're gonna okay.
So this is your 12 o'clock candle, right? Or 12 o'clock box, better said. Okay. I'm going to show you some volume tricks right here. And then I use this a lot. So take a little note right here. So when you see this volume, so it's highlighted, right? This indicator, it's pretty sporty. I mean, the guy that done this thing, he knew what the hell he was doing. I'm assuming he knew what the hell he was doing because he highlighted the right one nonetheless. So if there was a way that you could not see this right here, just don't look at it. Anywhere, anything from this 12 o'clock candle to the right, don't look at it because it doesn't exist yet, right? Because we're just looking at this. Okay. So in relative terms, anything that was to the left of that candle, it's much, much, much higher, right? In relative terms, relative meaning, the past couple hours or whatever, it's very high. So this is very to be extremely noted of, right? There was some folks that come in here and sold this move. Now you have to think, all right, are they willing to defend this move, or did some people just late sell this and they're about to get it ran back up on them? You know what I mean? And there's some things there that's going to tell you what you need to know, right? Well, you knew what was going on. Say, for instance, and this is how you can keep yourself in a trade throughout the whole day, too, right? So you've seen that 30-second Bollinger Band setup up here, right? You would have took it, A+ setup. Now you're trying to figure out, okay, going to a larger time frame, where's a good spot to get out? Well, you would obviously probably target the closing range, right? Because we busted above it, never retested it. So you say, okay, well, I'm going to target the closing range. Well, when you see moves like this start to happen and there's no volume coming in, and all of a sudden a relative volume spike comes in on sell side, well, you say to yourself, all right, well, these guys sold. Are they willing to defend their position? And if they are, you'll not see price run back through this candle, right? And they held them off. So you knew right then and there, right? You knew right then and there that this candle is being defended. Sellers stepped in and they're defending their position. They're not letting buyers buy it up. So there's zero reason for you to cut your trade, right? Maybe sell some right here. I'm not saying don't pay yourself because that's just nuts. Pay yourself as much as you can. But you could leave a runner, and this is how you can maintain that runner. You know what I mean? So you're just watching this volume as it's coming running through here. And this is the candle that you're paying attention to because this is your backstop, right? Let price run back up in there, and they're defending this. Not a damn one of us is going to be able to create a scenario like this, right? Where we can defend a position and keep selling into it, Well, anyhow, they break it down. They break it down below the closing range, and now you've got some more confluence, right, working in your favor. You've got a rejection off of the closing range. You've still seen nothing in volume telling you that you should be getting out, right? Well, maybe try to think about taking some off into some of this that what you know is coming up is support, right? Take some off there. Well, if you see price run back into it, in your mind, this is the area in which it's being defended. This is where you're looking for bearish moves. So you've got price below closing range. You've got the cloud. You've got basically a Bollinger Band poke right here that you could actually add as a momentum play. So you've sold here. You've sold here. You could add back into your position here, sell one back down into here. You still have no volume telling you it's time to hop out. Nothing's telling you to hop out. And you literally could have rode this thing all the way down to the close because there was nothing telling you where sellers are stepping in or buyers are stepping in. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I told you wrong. Right here is one. My screen wasn't. Let me see here. Here's your good scenario. Sorry. I actually told you wrong right there. There was some buyers that come in, right? In a relative terms, this buyer stepped in out of nowhere in relative terms. So you would pay attention to this candle, right? So this is how you use the volume part. I'm going to box this in red. Okay. And I'm going to box this one up in here in red as well. So you know,
This
actually
is also
probably
the 5-minute chart, Magnum. That's okay.
absolutely. This is the one I do most of my analysis on in terms of the day. You know what I mean? So I'm saying to myself, I forgot about this. I didn't see this right here. So you knew sellers come in via the red box. It got defended. Their position got defended. Okay. So you could take a short right here if you, for whatever reason, didn't catch anything up here. Take a short off this red box, obviously target some of this stuff that's down below. Take you one off here, you know, it broke through, obviously support resistance type deal, you know, broke through, take you some off into these 3, 6, and 9 boxes. Well, you just seen a buyer step up, right? So you have to take note of that. You box that or just look at it. You don't have to box it. I'm just telling you a way you can. Now, if these guys were going to defend their position, don't worry about the height of the volume. All you need to worry about is it's in relative terms. In other words, to the left, right? It showed up highlighted, so you know it's higher in relative terms. So buyers did indeed step up to the plate right here. Okay. And they did. They drove price up. They come back down into it and they defended it, right? They defended it right here. And they drove it up, but they could not get it past the cloud. So you know buyers are getting weak. Buyers are getting weak. Well, as price comes down here, comes on down, it actually broke through it. So then at that point in time, you know buyers have lost the fight. You know what I mean? The Bulls have just stepped away. They couldn't defend their position any longer once it got past this level. Right? And probably what you're gonna see is I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. I'm gonna delete. Let me go ahead and delete these boxes because I don't need them anymore. I'm going to delete the closing range. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to delete the 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock box and the 12 o'clock box. This is the only box that matters at this moment in time, besides the closing range box, and we'll get to it here in a minute. So this box is going to tell you a lot. Now, these buyers, they lost the fight a while ago. Okay? But we never retested that box. That tells you something. Okay? Now, if we get down here, let me swap to a 1 minute chart real quick, and let me get that closing range in so I can get this thing down to some science. It's this candle right here. Okay. Well, as y'all know, yellow's always closing range on my charts. So, obviously anything below is kind of a bearish type scenario. That's what you're looking for. So there's no way in the world I'm taking any type of a long down here. You know, especially not in this time, right? This time offers me no good. So how does this play out, right? This is most likely how it will play out. This box being untested. So you would want price to come up in here, break above, break below. Shoot. Come back down. And it's up to the buy. What in the hell did I just do? And I ain't no good at this drawing thing. That's where you're headed. If this is shown as support, if price can get over this closing range, right, and come back and back test into it and reject off of it, that is where price is headed. At 4774. Or I mean 774. And it's going to retest that area. It's almost a given that it's going to retest that area. Now, what happens up here, I'm not sure. Are the bulls going to come back in and push this thing higher? and then come back and retest it and take off. So if that was to happen, so if you see price come up into here and it show a rejection, expect lower prices, right? If it come up above and then back tested back into this, then you know the bulls come back into play and it's headed up higher, right? It's either this scenario where you could take a long right here for higher prices. You could take a long right here up to here, right? Or if it got rejected up here, you could potentially take a short back down to the closing range, if not lower prices, from the 369 boxes. So that's how I use volume in terms of being able to put myself in his, so many different positions, right? You got to just know where buyers stepped in and you got to know where buyers stepped out, and they're going to defend their positions. But you can't just look at a ton of volume throughout the day, and not have an understanding in relative terms what that means. So when you see these highlighted bars, if you use this particular indicator, they done a fantastic job because that's what it highlights. Anything to the left, it is much, much more important on those highlighted bars, where they stepped in and where they stepped out. You know what I mean? Like, let's see, anywhere right here. I mean, everything got retested, right? So if you're looking right here, this bar, you look over here, this is your high volume bar for the morning. It got retested over here, right? You look at this volume bar, it got retested right here. You see what I'm saying? It's constant like this over and over and over and over. And that's just added to the whole confluence deal, right? Of you having your 369 12 boxes, your closing range boxes, the cloud, the Bollinger Bands. You have so much context and so much confluence that you can build a trade out of nothing at any given time, any given where. You know what I mean? Just being armed with everything. But at the end of the day, this stuff right here is what rules the market. Where unfinished auctions, whatever you want to call them. There's so many things that it can be called. What I call it is, up here, buyers walked away, okay? And the sellers defended their position. They had more to sell than the buyers had to buy. Right here, the buyers had more to buy than the sellers had to sell until they got right here. And then the sellers stepped back in with more weight and pushed the price lower. Now, the part of the efficient market is price has got to come back up in here and make sure that there's no more business to be done here. And that will be your retest. Whether it be a retest into here and a rejection off, you can expect lower prices. But you have to expect, looking at this chart, the odds of it going above this and breaking above are less likely than the odds of this thing coming up in here testing and then rejecting off of, because already the bears have showed dominance right here, right? Sellers have showed dominance to push this thing through with urgency. That's not even, that's pretty urgent, So you would expect a retest up into here and then a rejection off. But for the case that it didn't, you could take a short right here blindly with a stop loss of, I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm just telling you the way I would do this is put an order. I would put an order at 774 and I just go 13.5 points up, or 13.75 points above it, and put me a stop, right? You're going to be right or you're going to be wrong. And if you're wrong, who gives a crap? Let the price go above it, come back to it, do the same thing. Put you a long order here and put you a stop 13.75 points below it and let it go on up above it. You know what I mean? That's the idea. That's kind of how you'd play that stuff. But given that context, what I was just telling you right there, if you start your day off looking at this kind of stuff, right? Look at where this volume's coming in and and I tell you right now, I personally do it on a 5 minute, but you can do it on a 1 minute, but you're going to get a lot of signals on a 1 minute. You know what I mean? Preferably I like it on a 5 minute. It's a lot cleaner. I only got a few of them to look out for the day, and it allows me to trade, you know, in a little bit. And today wasn't too crazy, but I mean, it's light volume. You know what I mean? Not a lot going on. A lot of people didn't play today, but nonetheless, 5 minutes a lot cleaner. Now with that fresh on your mind right there, I'm gonna show you what happened, and why I have took a short the way I took a short. Let me get this thing squinched down here a little bit. And the higher time frame stuff, I really like to play it like this because it seems to respect it the higher the time frame. Everything just seems to work a little better. So if you can see, it's a daily chart. Now on my daily chart, I have set up a long scenario and I have set up a short scenario. And everything was long scenarioed. I mean, it has to be, right? Because I mean, price just doesn't do any damn thing but go up as of late. Well, that ain't always the case, you know, and you got to be prepared for when it don't. And when it don't, you need to be aware of it and be able to take advantage of it, right? So if you was looking through all this volume, I mean, it's a ton of it, right? You have to look at all these ones that have highlighted and all these ones that are not highlighted and find out what's tested and what's not been tested, what's been retested and what hasn't been retested. So these blocks that you're seeing right here, okay, buyer stepped in, right? This area has not been retested. This area has not been retested. You know what I mean? That's a different box, but these two areas are the only two in this uptrend that has not been retested, better said. Okay. Everything up through here, every buyer, every seller has been matched, back tested, and took back off. Or, you know, broke down, back tested, and broke down even more. And then it found new buyers down here that pushed it back up, and that area got retested, right? Everything is in balance from 11,300-ish all the way up in here to 15,700-ish. The only other area that we had unbalanced was this area right here at 990. Let me delete this red box. That was my entry. So, y'all know what this green and yellow is. That's closing range, and that green one's where something, you know, where price should take back into on a 5-minute chart. Let me delete it so I ain't confusing nobody. So what I'm looking for is ideally what I wanted to see, right, was price come down here. You made that area, right, the high volume area in a relative sense. So it's highlighted. Buyers stepped in. Well, buyers stepped in, pushed price up. Well, if buyers were really buying, they would have defended this level right here, right? They would have defended this area where they stepped up and pushed price and pushed it higher. They didn't. Sellers stepped in and smacked it below her, right? Well, pushed it down, and they pushed it into a major trend line, right? That's been holding price up for, since last November, almost a year. It's just bounced so perfectly off this trend line, you know, multiple times, which is definitive of an uptrend, right? But nonetheless, that's nor here nor there. What matters is the balance part, right? You had buyers and sellers balancing all the way up through here. Well, once you've seen these buyers step in, price come up, and it fell down below it with an urgency, right? It come down, and then started to run back into it. It rejected off of that. To me, this is terrible. Like, I doubt this trend line right here is going to hold. I mean, it's going to take something pretty drastic to pull a daily chart out of this type of scenario. I mean, you know what you're already looking at, right? You're looking at the clouds done turned. a rejection off the cloud, right? So there's starting to be some confluence come into play already over here. You know what I mean? And God forbid if this thing sets up and some type of an A plus setup comes in here with a Bollinger Band poke below this 990 level, right? Then holy smokes, you got a ton of confluence. But nonetheless, we got to talk about what we're seeing. So when I seen this right here happen, this is why I took the short. Price broke below it when it should have held as support, right? I said to myself, okay, same scenario I just showed you on a 5-minute chart. I'm going to take a short up here at 990, right? Because if I'm wrong, I'm only wrong this little bitty tiny much. You know what I mean? Not much. But if I'm right a whole hell of a lot, because the only thing that's current that has not been retested is all the way down here at 11,300-ish. That's the closest area in which buyers stepped in, right? So we've got to backtest that at some point in time into the future. I don't know when, but some point in time we do. And I can't tell you that it ain't going to be here in just a little while, in the next little bit, little bit meaning months, whatever. Who knows? I don't know how fast it'd happen if it was to happen. All I do know is where I needed to position to be in the best spot I could be to capture this move, right? I don't really know. There's probably a lot of crap that's going to go on right here, at this trend line. But it's okay because I'm positioned up here good enough that I ain't got to worry about it. But I guess that's how it's supported to understand where, how volume works and how these guys position themselves and where they defend this stuff and where they don't defend it. And then where it didn't get defended, how to always be in a good spot to put yourself to where you can take advantage of the move. And that's ultimately what it is I got short right there with that same idea off the 5-minute chart and I was looking to get short down to here, right? Unless I see something before we get down to here, which currently there is nothing in this uptrend that tells me that I should sell before we get to this level. Now, that doesn't mean volume's not going to print somewhere out here into the future on the way down that's telling me, hey, Magnum, yeah, you probably need to get out of your position because, buyers stepped in here and they damn sure defending their position. You know what I mean? And that's okay. But we don't know, right? I mean, we can't predict the future. But you can put yourself in these kind of positions where you can be right and make a lot of money, or you can be wrong and lose a little bit of money. But you can put yourself in these positions over and over and over. But had I wanted to take a long, I would have had to have seen price come down here and go back above that box and then come back down, and I would have took a long off of 990-ish back up to God only knows. I mean, I don't know. These things can run for seems like ever. But that's how you would have played the long there. But right now the short's playing out, right? And we don't know where the short's going to stop. We don't know. I mean, all we do know is what's in front of us, and what's in front of us is 11,300. You know what I mean? So we have to use that, or I have to use that as a target, right? Because that's the only spot that makes sense. Using this ideology to take it off at, right?
Hey, Mag, I'm
Now,
so
what
sorry.
gets us there, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, because that's substantial, man. I mean, you're talking, from where I got in, you're talking a 24% move down. That's huge.
Hey, Magnum. So that level that you got into, actually lines up pretty much perfectly, just maybe a few ticks off. If you were to draw a fib level between the
Hey,
927 candle, go
hey,
ahead.
hold on to that thought 1 second, buddy. I've got to get my charger. I didn't realize my battery's flashing here. I'm sorry, man. Hold on 1 second.
No worries.
Hey, sorry about that, man. I'm back here. I forgot
No, no
that this
worries.
battery doesn't last very long at all.
So some things that I also look at where you're talking about imbalance, right? So on that daily chart, that big giant red candle or the bearish candle that pushed it, right? That you said, pushed down with urgency. The
Yep.
previous day, 927, there was a bottom wick, and then the next day, 929, there was that top wick. You draw a fib level between those two because there's unfinished business in that location, right?
Yep.
Something the contracts were not fully vested, and then you delete all the fib and just draw a 50% line, and you're looking for price to rotate into that area, and it, I mean, you are all of 2 cents away from that, right? And that would be indicative of that candle is now balanced, right? All orders are balanced there,
Yep.
and you getting short there is perfect, right?
Yep.
From an imbalance. And now, according to order flow, you go with imbalances until imbalances are no longer valid. So if it's a bearish imbalance, you go with the bearishness. If it's a bullish imbalance, you go with the bullishness. Price
Yep.
has to come back into it to level out those those orders, because market is about balancing, right? Just like you're talking about. And then a way to kind of like keep you solvent is your value area high above it on the daily time frame on a yearly chart. You're gonna test that super duper trend line. We'll call that the plunge protection line, right? And
Yeah.
then there's the 10% line. That's going to also be an area of concern, right? Because people are going to start saying, hey, wait a minute, we're 10% from the all time highs. That's considered a correction, right? 10 to 12%.
Yep.
Then you have a big volume node between that 14,000 mark down to 13.7, right? All that volume down there. And then you have the 200 simple moving average. So you have all these big critical levels that if they all break, like you might be anticipating, the market could definitely move lower, right? Like
Yep.
you're talking about. Um, so definitely interesting how you are looking at it from a buyers came in to try to buy it up and then got
Yep.
smack dabbed out and never got retested. And
Yep.
that also lines up with a daily imbalance, right? Off
Yep.
that big bearish candle. So all great stuff. I just wanted to kind of give a little commentary of how someone else might be interpreting that entry as well. I mean, also too, you're right in the middle of that cloud, right, from your entry, and that I think was a good. I replayed that scenario in simulation on your entry off because your entry was really off of the jobs numbers, right?
That's exactly what I was waiting. It came in and I told everybody, I was like, look, guys, I'm going short at 990. If I'm wrong, I'm going long at 990 the other way. Let it back test. Because who knows what the jobs number is? I mean, none of that. Who the hell knows any of that stuff? I sure don't. But nonetheless, you find your spot, right? That was my spot, and I knew I'm short here or I'm gonna long here, and this is how I'm gonna short, and this is how I'm gonna go long. And this little box defined my risk, right? And that's ultimately us as traders. That's our job. It ain't our job to predict price. It's our job to get in a position with the least amount of risk and the most amount of potential. You know.
Yep. And then, like some
That's
people were
it.
talking about with stops, right? I said, in a previous discussion, I asked how you position yourself with stops, and as every entry comes in, an auto stop gets put in, 13.75 points lower or higher, and that's you're saying is if I'm wrong, I'm gonna know right away because the
That's it.
market rotates in this volume or this price range, and I'll know right away, right? Versus me uh, not knowing and then getting emotionally attached or not having my risk defined. And then also, some of like myself, maybe just a couple contract trader, not no big deal. But when you're trading like yourself, when you're trading serious size compared to compared to us, it's very important, right?
Yep.
So You
Very,
you
very
had the
important.
risk to find, and you're up 350 points right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it's like it's not even stressful, right? You just know there's no way in hell I knew that price was going to stop right here. I didn't know it could have stopped right here and it could have blowed past it. You know what I mean? There's no way I knew price was going to stop here. It's just impossible. I don't know no more than nobody else. You know what I mean? All I do know is this is my risk. I'm going to take a shot right here. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm only this little bit of wrong. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. You know what I mean? Um, and if I'm wrong, hey, I got another shot at it, right? Because they're going to defend it right here when it comes back to back test it, you know, and then I get another shot to go long, and there again is my risk, you know.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's it, man. That is absolutely
And
why I took the trade. And until I see something like what I just showed you guys, I have no desire to get out of this trade. I sold off enough of them. I got short pretty heavy up here. So I sold them off, a lot of them off into this move. So the rest of them I can keep to 11,000 if I wanted to. If I don't see anything to tell me to get out, I will be holding all 15 of them to 11,000. But we'll just see how it works, you know. I don't know.
like I said the other day, I choose option B where we don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you got to understand now that's devastating, right? I mean, to
Yeah.
see we say that, you know, yeah, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't hold value, right? When you say 11,000, but when you think about, you know, holy hell, you know, 25% pullback, you know, what does that do to Main Street? You know what I mean? There's a lot of folks going to hurt, you know what I mean? And that's the serious part of this stuff is just like you put it in reality, you put it in reality and you're like, damn, yeah, you know, it's hard, you know, yeah, I'm kind of glad that I, you know, maybe got the trade right or whatever, but boy, look at all the folks that's getting their ass handed to them in everyday life, work, you know, families, you know what I mean? It's just, you don't want to see this kind of stuff, but it's the reality of it, right? I mean, it's our job. So we got to, you know, we got to do, but nonetheless, um, pretty wild stuff, man. But you know, the thing that really pisses me off about everything is this right here. You see, just watch the way the news works, right? You know good as well as I do. I didn't cause this damn move right here. I didn't stop this market. My order up here did not turn this market and push it back down. There's no way. So as they're talking a bunch of crap, this, that, and the other, earnings is going to be this, earnings is going to be that. Well, these rascals are doing nothing more than lying out their teeth every single chance they get, all while positioning their money to go short, right? Because there's no reason. There's this move is caused by them, right? Folks position their money for everything to get dumped, right? Well, they're going to push whatever narrative this is. I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's just that you see this kind of stuff all over and over and over again. And this is the type of stuff I was telling you about where you could, you know, show you the chart and you could tell the news, right? There's something, if this thing goes to 11,000, trust me, there's going to be some bad shit come across the news, you know, and it's going to cause panic because that's the only way it's going to get to 11,000. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It could be anything, but, the only thing that's going to save this damn thing right here is the Fed come in and they announce they're buying everything, right? Because there is big money pushed this market down, and not only pushed it down, defended it to push it down further. You know? So that's something to think about, man. There is a bunch of shit going on right now and nobody's talking about it. You know what I mean? And this was the spot. You know? This is where it all happened. So I don't know. I guess they'll talk about it when it gets down here and breaks this trend line. I don't know what they'll do, but that's why I was talking about folks lie with their mouth and they don't lie with their money. You know what I mean? Crazy stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, a great way to kind of talk about that, right, is you look at distribution, right? Flow of volume at different levels, and there's a lot of volume up here, right? A lot of
Yeah.
contracts being traded on the Nasdaq that are equivalent to volume pockets um, at much lower prices. So,
Yep.
what does that tell you? Are people buying the all-time highs like with urgency? Probably not,
Nope.
right? They're probably distributing their contracts that they bought from way down in Davy Jones' locker, right?
Yep.
But you never know. I mean, obviously, over since the inception of the market, from point A to point B today, it's up. But intra-day, intra-year, intra decade, there's fluctuation, right, up and down. So it is interesting. I think once you see a 10% correction in the indexes, people start to ask questions. And then once you see a 15% correction, people start to panic. And then once you see that bigger correction becomes the limit down days, right? Where
Yep.
the market opens up and immediately gets halted because
Yep.
everyone's dumping, trying to preserve whatever little money they have. Because you have to remember too, from
Yep.
a retirement standpoint, people were sitting on big dollars pre-COVID, and then it all
Oh,
flushed, and people panicked and didn't and might have sold or didn't buy anything. And now, not only is it above pre-COVID, but it's like way above, right?
yeah.
So those big dollars that they had before are now ginormous dollars, and they don't want to get rid of. They don't want to lose those ginormous dollars, so they might want to lock it in if they start to see corrections, right? Especially if you're drawing from that fund and you
Yep.
start dumping those, that's where it all goes to hell, right?
Yep. I mean, I just, this back test right here, man, that's just scary. I mean, this is a scary situation right here. You know,
Yeah,
very, very. I mean, it really is. Um, it's not good for any damn body, quite frankly. I mean,
I forget what the
um,
numbers are from how as unemployment, um, however many percent unemployment goes up, how many people lose their homes or perish, actually die, or but it's a pretty terrible number. So yeah, we're talking about um, financial problems.
big time. Yeah. I mean, if something like that was to play out, and uh,
Well,
I don't know.
if it does play
Just,
out, you'll get your farm really cheap, and then
yeah.
we're all going to come down there and work for you because we're all going to be all our 401ks are going to be zero.
Oh man, have a trading expo going on there.
Hey man, I dig it. I'd come down if you had a little barn going and you had, it'd be like we get that Elon Musk stuff. We'll get that Starlink out there. We'll get a bunch of super fast PCs and monitors, and we'll just talk trades all day long.
You man, make it look like something that it ain't. Just have a barn, but open the doors, and it is just nothing but a wall of
The
any product you can imagine.
the power company is going to be like, man, what is this guy doing out here on this farm? Look at all this power he's using. We're gonna
For
have
real.
We'll have the Nasdaq, the ES, the Russell. We'll have the Dow. We'll have slot. Random length lumber. We'll have the pigs. We'll have coffee futures. We'll have them all up there.
Yeah, man, we got to start hedging. I mean, if we're growing corn, we got to start hedging our bets on that stuff.
There you go. There you go. And then we're gonna be before you know it, we'll be on you know, USA Today. Group of random retail traders banging out hedge funds off of a basic strategy.
Oh my god, for real. It's one of the things I just can't imagine about all this stuff is it's just absolutely overrated in terms of um what's got to be done, right? The amount of I don't know. It seems like everybody tries to make it twice as hard as it actually's got to be. It doesn't have to be like that at all, for sure. That's that five. That's that box I was telling you about right there. So be mindful. If it does decide to pump up there, that is an untested spot. So you know it'd be relevant for like a day or two type of deal. 773. and price should reject off of it. Same deal as what what the daily chart was looking like. Kind of the same deal.
Yeah, this is
Something
great.
to keep in mind.
I really, I think myself, I speak for everybody here that they love having you come in and talk about this, about your strategy and what you're doing. And I think everyone gets excited when you post and you're like, hey, look, I'm up 40, 100, 400 points. We're like, holy moly, because I have belonged to some other groups of people. I tried, I belong to like Simpler Trading, which is um, John Carter and his team. And there's another gentleman that I trade with that I met in a different room, and he trades the Nasdaq exclusively, like most of us as well. And I was going over your strategy, uh, and you hold 300-400 points, and he's like, I've been trading for a long time, very successfully, and I'm solvent for about 100-150 points, and after that, I usually close out for my win and call it a day and look for another trade another day. To hold for that, he's like, man, I gotta meet this guy. I gotta meet this guy. And I said,
It's,
you gotta
it's,
come in the room, man. I go, come
yeah,
in the room and hop on one of the channels and talk to him, because he was really really intrigued.
that's how it works, man. I mean, that's how you kind of, you just measure the health of your trade right as it goes. Once you find yourself in a good spot, like what we had talked about earlier today, you could have been in this short all day from way up here. Whatever it was, I don't remember what it was, but you could have been in this short all the way down here until you seen buyers come in. You could have cut it right there. Probably would have been the most likely scenario, but I would have cut it there. I don't think I would have held through that scenario. But as you see, it played out, where buyers fell through. But as long as you keep watching the health of the move and making sure that you're still on the right side of things, man, there's no reason to cut it, I mean, if you're looking at a 5 minute and we just come from a daily, well, we know what's going on in a daily, so you're constantly just looking for these types of scenarios to play out to where you say, okay, well, I know that the overall move is down unless something changes, right? Something changes meaning big news comes out. So you're finding these opportunities like at, this 774 to potentially take you a short and, hold this thing for a couple hundred points, and then watch the thing play out. That's just that's typically the way you try to roll it there. But pay attention to that 774 and the next day or so. It'll get retested, I believe, at some point. For sure. Well, fellas, if y'all got anything else, man, we'll hash it out here. If not, I'm gonna cut this thing loose. It's getting a little late in the tooth here. Well, man, if y'all are good, I'm good.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I'm new to the group. I'm wondering if I want to learn your strategy and I miss a lot of your stream, like, is there a video or something I can watch? Magnum?
Yeah, if you go under the community stream section,
Okay.
yeah, everybody's putting together some stuff there. It should be listed through there. I really don't know. You just have to go through there and see it all, but it's all there under the community streams part.
Okay, great. Awesome. Because I started to trade the NASDAQ and I really like it. I've been playing around with it for 2-3 weeks now.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for helping us.
no problem. No problem.
Is this a humble trader?
Oh no, I'm not humble trader. I'm new to future. My friend Anne, she's the one with the logo of the kitty cat 131. She invited me to the group. I've been in the group for only a month. No, I'm not
Nice.
humble trader. I don't know. I got burned with small cap penny stuff, so I don't touch it again. I only play large cap, mid cap for like long term swing account, and
Yep.
my future will be scalping. I really like future because I got
Cool.
burned with option too, so no option for me.
I understand that. Well, welcome to the group.
Thank you so much.
humble trader, man. Don't be. What are you doing?
I think she mostly play like small cap and mid cap. I don't think she would touch future.
No.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna cut this thing loose here, man. Well, y'all have a good one.
Magnum,
We'll
thanks so much.
hey, no problem.
Magnum,
We'll catch you
thank
guys
you
later.
for streaming.
No problem.
Later, man.
See ya.